Am I the asshole for telling my fiance my daughter has to be in our wedding? I, 45-year-old male, have a daughter, P, from a previous relationship. I divorced my ex-wife on good terms and we share 50-50 custody of P. She is now 11. After I divorced my ex-wife, I met my now fiance, SS, and my daughter got along very well. After 5 years in my relationship with S, I proposed. S was super excited and wanted to start planning right away. She looked at venues and started asking her friends to be her bridesmaids. She then told me she wanted her niece to be a flower girl, which I had no problem with, but I said I also wanted P to be a flower girl. S looked at me funny and then said that she didn't think that P would fit the part. I got angry and told S that my daughter would be in our wedding. S started to become upset and said that the girls in the wedding were up to her and P wouldn't be one of them. I told S that if P wasn't in the wedding, then there might not be a wedding. I stormed out and took P to get ice cream. P knows we are getting married and told me she thinks she will look pretty in whatever dress S decides she should wear. This broke my heart and I decided to text S. I told her I would be staying at a friend's to think this over. My mother-in-law texted me saying I am overreacting and that my daughter doesn't have to be in my wedding, and I wasn't asked for saying that I would cancel. So did I take it too far saying I will cancel? Am I overreacting or just being a good dad? Update. Hey Reddit. Thanks everyone for all the kind words and suggestions. To answer a few questions, my daughter is not disabled, chubby, or having an awkward phase, braces or glasses. I did ask if P could be a groomsman. S immediately shot me down. S is 39, she is the same race as my daughter, this is her first marriage. I tried to answer in many comments as possible. I came home to talk to S today. When I pulled in our driveway, my mother-in-law was sitting there in her car. I got out and went inside trying to avoid talking to my mother-in-law. S was sitting at the kitchen table and I joined her. She sat in silence, so I asked the first question, why does P not fit the part, and why don't you want her in the wedding at all? Her answer full-on shocked me. She quietly said, I was hoping that after the wedding you could become a holiday visit only dad. I didn't want her in the wedding so she wouldn't be in the photos around the house since she wasn't going to be around much. I kept my cool, calmly took her hand, and pulled my engagement ring off. Her eyes started to tear up. She said we shouldn't end the marriage over this and that she can change. I told her the damage was already done. I told her I wanted her things moved out by next week and that she could come get them when my daughter wasn't home. The house is in my name and I paid for it. I was allowing her to get her furniture that she paid for. She stormed out and my mother-in-law came knocking on the door saying I was being unreasonable. I couldn't imagine only seeing my daughter 3 or 4 times a year. The fact that S wanted me to give up part of my custody blew me away. I'm sitting on my couch just in shock. Our honeymoon was supposed to be in Hawaii. Looks like me and P will be going instead. I will update again if anything happens. Community response number 1. Holy shit. First things first, you are an amazing father. Good on you for having P's back. Second, your ex-fiancée is an absolute witch. Like, how big is her bag? It must be massive to hold all that audacity. She really wanted to take your daughter out of your life and replace it with whatever family you two decided to have. You did well by keeping calm. My anger issues could never. Third, I know it hurts and you're likely in shock, but know that you did the right thing. Surround yourself and P with people who love and support you, and take comfort in the fact you dodged a massive bullet. Community response number 2. Jumping on this to say you are a phenomenal father. Take the kiddo to Hawaii and soak up all that bonding time. I'm so proud of you, internet stranger, for doing the best thing. The trash took itself out here basically, and you saved yourself a lifetime of headache and heartache and alimony. Story 2. Am I the asshole for telling someone I'm not friendly when their dog came up to me? Went to a brewery restaurant with my wife. Our name was called, and to get to our table indoors we had to cut through the patio. We got stopped for a few moments behind a table leaving and saying goodbye. In those moments, a lab-type dog gets up and starts sniffing my ankles. I look at the owners and say what the hell, and point at the dog. They just say the classic line of oh don't worry, he's friendly. I admit I was a touch rude, I just say I'm not friendly. They pull the dog back under the table. They start saying if you aren't friendly you shouldn't be coming to a dog-friendly restaurant. I tell them just because the place is dog-friendly doesn't mean that it's okay for your dog to come up to me. I don't want it in my fucking space. They seem baffled that someone didn't like their dog. He called me an asshole and told me to find somewhere else to walk. I say fuck off as we head to our table. My wife was like, you're right, but could have been friendlier. Was I the asshole? Edit, for your information, indoors is not dog-friendly. Outdoors is dog-friendly. My wife and I specifically chose indoor seating because it was not dog-friendly. Community response number 1. I think the owner's response was not okay. Don't worry, he's friendly is assuming the person was worried the dog might bite, and not that he didn't want a dog sniffing him. It's presumptuous and rude. A better reaction would have been, oh sorry, here boy or girl or dog's name. End of story. Opus's reaction was also rude and confrontational. I also don't want a dog sniffing me, but if it happens I expect the owners to try to move the dog away or lightheartedly say sorry or something. I don't expect them to not attempt to move the dog at all. I would have said something like, excuse me, I am not worried if he is friendly or not. I'd like you to move your dog away please. Community response number 2. I don't think the dog owners suck just for going to a dog-friendly place and happening to be close enough to Opus for their dog to do what every dog does. Opus is the one out of place here. Imagine going to Chuck E. Cheese and then becoming outraged with a child within reach. Story 3. Am I the asshole for not wanting to give my wealthier sister the lion's share of the inheritance? Yesterday, my parents sat me, 31-year-old male, my 2 brothers, 32, 34, and my sister, 41, down to discuss their will. My parents informed us that they want to split it 5 ways. My sister gets 40% while the 3 of us brothers get 20% each. Their reasoning is that my sister sacrificed her childhood for our family, so it's only fair she gets compensated. In our childhood, my father's business partner screwed him over, so there was a period where we were broke and in debt. My parents had to work multiple jobs to keep us afloat, and my sister babysat us while our parents worked. All she had to do was feed us and keep an eye on us. We were pretty calm kids, so all we did was play games and do our homework. It probably wasn't thrilling, but not exactly a tremendous hardship. I complained to my parents along with my brothers that it's insane they want to give my sister 40% of the inheritance over that, especially since she's financially the best off out of all of us. She doesn't have any kids and a dual income with her partner. My parents said they're disappointed in us and said we need to reflect on ourselves. My sister didn't say shit while my parents spoke, but texted us afterwards that she had zero intention of taking 40%, but we were all assholes. Community response number 1. You're the asshole. Even if she just stayed at home while you were there, she didn't have teenage freedom and she made sacrifices and took on responsibilities. It doesn't matter how affluent she is now, your parents are trying to pay her back for what they couldn't pay her then. Community response number 2. You're the asshole. Your failure to make as much as her isn't your parents' problem. Community response number 3. You're the asshole. Not many parents are willing to acknowledge that they parentified a child. Your sister sacrificed her teenage years to help your parents take care of you. There may not have been any inheritance at all for you to quibble over, if not for her unpaid labor back then. Community response number 4. To put a finer point on it, the sister didn't sacrifice her childhood. The parents stole her childhood. A child did not volunteer to watch her 3 brothers. How many years was the sister babysitting to make the parents feel guilty enough to leave her a whole extra share? How old was she when it started? An original poster, don't for a minute downplay what your sister did. That alone makes you an ungrateful asshole. I don't condone or excuse the parentification, but it was because of your sister that you had food on the table and your parents were able to get back on their feet. You want to reap the benefits of your parents' hard work and success without thought to how they got there. Maybe she would have also liked playing games too instead of watching you. Maybe she would have liked going out with her friends and spending time with them instead of 3 little brothers. Maybe she had enough of watching children for a lifetime and that's why she's child-free. Your entitled attitude is pretty gross. What do you think? Do you agree with these community responses so far? Leave your thoughts below in the comments. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.